political deals revealed in the Airbus scandal. Prime Minister says how he respected the decision made by the SLFP. 230,000 people affected by dry weather conditions. Number of new coronavirus cases in South Korea more than doubled in one day. Sri Lanka records a nail-biting win against West Indies at the first ODI.
Good evening, Zeenat. Good evening to our viewers. We're joining you from the newsroom this evening once again for a special report. Now, to remind you what we have been reporting thus far. Yesterday, we have reported to you that all these key political figures in our country, be it the current government, be it the former government, or be it the government before that, all of these key individuals are connected, interconnected to the scams that have happened in our country, be it the corruption activities or the large-scale fraud that have taken place in our country. All of these key political figures are involved. We brought this out to you by bringing out 3 examples. One was the expressway scandals that have happened in our country, and the other was, of course, the Airbus refleet deal that had taken place in the country, and the major financial scam that up to date haunts the apex financial body of our country, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Of course, the bond scam. We reported to you how all of the key figures are interconnected. Now, one more classic point that we have been reporting throughout is the fact that at the cancellation stage of the Airbus deal, there was once again wastage, massive wastage of public funds. Today, leader of the JVP, Anrukumara Disanayaka, had this to say regarding that very same point. Let's have a listen.
Kapila Chandrasena had transferred 140 million to an account belonging to Nimal Perera. Who is Nimal Perera? He is not a board member of Sri Lankan Airlines. Neither was he a member of the cabinet. So why were these funds transferred to his account? Prior to this, a fund transfer amounted to 600 million to his account was investigated. During the investigation, he has provided a statement claiming he did not even take a cent from these funds. He had also mentioned to whom these funds were transferred thereafter. These revelations will come to light if the government can take proper action. Nimal Perera must make a statement to the entire country in this regard. If not, Nimal Perera must be questioned in this regard. I am certain that Nimal Perera did not even use a single cent from the 140 million that was transferred to his account. On the other hand, the UNP government cancelled the agreement to purchase the aircraft, claiming it was a burden to the airline and the airline could not bear such a massive cost. Back then, Ranil Wickremesinghe's classmate Ajit Dias was the chairman of Sri Lankan Airlines. The CEO was Suren Ratwatta, the brother of Charitha Ratwatta. Sunil Handunnetti, as the chairman of COPE, revealed that $115.7 million has been spent to cancel this agreement. $115.17 million is equal to 17 billion rupees. Then Minister in charge, Kabir Hashim, the Attorney General's department or the cabinet was not aware of this. The cabinet was not aware when the agreement was signed or when it was cancelled. They took commissions when the agreement was signed and they took commissions when the agreement was cancelled. Who is responsible for this? It was Ranil Wickremesinghe. While Suren Ratwatta was in a meeting with a French bus company, he sent an SMS to his brother Charitha Ratwatta stating they were imposing conditions and whether to cancel the agreement. Charitha Ratwatta replied saying do it. This is how this transaction took place, with the government having to spend 17 billion rupees.
An investigation must be conducted to look into this matter. Media reports claim that my name was stated in courts. I will seek legal advice in this regard from the Attorney General. In my view, this is an attempt to blame the Rajapaksas and for the real culprits to escape. These investigations should be conducted in a transparent manner. I urge them to maintain transparency.
I do not know. Our government's stance is to punish anyone involved in wrongdoing. This will be done after an investigation is conducted. Where are all the cameras opposite the CID that were there the day and night during our government? When Namal Baby arrived at the CID had recorded statement from 2 figures connected to the Rajapaksa family. Why were the funds transferred? We will reveal all of this in the near future.
අපි ඉදිරියේදී එලිකානට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
කවුද එයාබස් ගනුසෙන් දෙනුවට?
Who pampered Kapila Chandrasena? Was it our government? No, it was the government that came into power to nab the thieves. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa enforced the law equally.
කවුද කියලා බලන්නේ නැහැ. නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා.
Sri Lanka Adhikaraniya.
Sri Lanka's judiciary is very independent. The Attorney General's department and all law enforcement agencies must take legal action against all wrongdoers. Their position and titles should be disregarded.
පරාතිරම පක්ෂපාත නොබලා.
ඩොලර් මිලියන 16ක
A loss of more than $16 million has been reported. We will conduct a comprehensive investigation into this matter. The President will ensure that this investigation will not be affected by any political interference.
ඒකට ජනාධිපතිතුමා කිසිදු බලපෑමක් ඇති වෙන්න ඉඩ තියන්නේ නැහැ.
එයාබස් ගනුදෙනුවෙන් හොරකම් කරපු කට්ටිය
Details have surfaced about individuals who have defrauded $2 billion in the Airbus deal. The general public should decide whether they would give room for both sides to steal their money. This is because it is the people who vote for a party and send their representatives to parliament. Generally, when a person passes the age of 60, he cannot engage in state employment. Now the time has come to change the individuals who are looting on a shift basis. Therefore, if thieves are voted into power, they protect the thieves of the other party. A thief does not nab another thief. Therefore, the people have a responsibility to defeat the thieves on both sides.
ඒ නිසා ජනතාවට වක්කීමක් තියෙනවා මේ දෙපැත්තම ඉන්න කම්බ හොරු ටික මේ පාර පරද්දන්න.
අපේ ආම්දුරනේ රුපියල් ලක්ෂ 10කට වඩා
If we received a deposit of more than 1 million rupees, the bank questioned us on the source of funding. This is what the central bank usually does. We wish to ask Cabral as to why Namal Rajapaksa was not questioned on the source through which he received the funds. The theft committed by Kapila Chandrasena was done with the knowledge of the Cabrals and the Mahindas. This is why Kabir Hashim and Ranil jointly swept the matter under the carpet. They have become startled now that the investigation has come out. Although Cabral tried to cover this up, where the money deposited to Namal's account has gone cannot be concealed. The money which was transferred after being received by Namal's friend too cannot be concealed. Therefore, the reason behind depositing the money to Namal's account too cannot be concealed. The UK Export Finance Department has filed a complaint to the Fraud Office seeking to investigate a fraudulent action which has taken place involving a company in our country. When they start to probe, the corruption inquiry is settled after paying $4 billion. When this message reaches Sri Lanka, Kapila Chandrasena and his wife go to court seeking to revoke the travel ban imposed on them. The next day, the Attorney General instructs their arrest. This shows that this case has been heard and that the complaint has been investigated during the period of Minister Kabir Hashim before impounding the passports of both of them. This shows that they have been searching for information. Who concealed this? It was the Ranils. This is because the Mahindas, Namals and Shirantis would be exposed if this matter comes to light. In the recent past, Ranjan's audio tapes, the coronavirus and the forensic audit were used to divert attention from the Airbus case. We do not know what will come next in order to sweep this under the carpet.
නාමල් අහුවෙන්නේ නේද? පහුගිය කාලේ රංජන්ගේ හඬපට ඉවරුණා කොරෝනා වලින්, කොරෝනා ඉවරුණා වෝහාරික විගණනයේ, වෝහාරික විගණන යාබස් වලින්. හෙට අනිද්දා මොන වගේ බෝම්බයක් ගහලා මේක යට කරයිද දන්නේ නැහැ.
While those were the views expressed regarding the Airbus refleet deal, there is another question that is confusing the general public at the moment. Be it this gentleman over here, the current Prime Minister of our country, or be it this gentleman over here, the former Prime Minister of our country. Are they having some sort of agreement between themselves to protect those who are close to them? Is there a deal between these political leaders to protect each other? This was raised by our journalists with a lot of politicians today. This is what they had to say regarding it.
There are deals within the UNP for sure. I will not comment about this right now. There are several powerful politicians in the UNP who are supporting us. They have been protected and treated well.
දැනටත් අපිට උදව් කරන.
What exactly is this deal? Mahinda Rajapaksa has been looting for the past 15 years, since 2005. Ranil Wickremesinghe, on the other hand, protects him. When Ranil Wickremesinghe loots the public funds, Mahinda Rajapaksa protects him. This is a claim made by the Mahanayaka Theros and not me. We can tell Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa that we can see you protecting them.
Now, one thing is clear with all of this taking place, be it through the various scams that are happening in our country, be it through the various scandals that are happening in our country, be it through the payments that are made for cancellations for the deals done by the governments and the former governments. Public money, public funds are being wasted, while the politicians are trying to confuse the people with a lot of unnecessary information. The people, the general public of our country, are suffering at the moment. Over 200,000 people are suffering from the extreme weather in terms of drought, and the farmers in our country are unable to take their yields, to carry out their harvesting activities with the lack of water. This is the situation of the general public in our country, while the politicians are doing what they are doing, confusing the general public.
The ongoing drought in the Pulastipura area in Polonnaruwa has left farmers helpless. Residents of this area who have not received rainfall for many months have to walk several kilometers in search of drinking water. Agricultural activities too have been affected due to the shortage of water. Those residing in the Vellam Kaduwa, Galkadidamana and Bedumala areas have also been affected due to this situation, which has caused the destruction of around 150 acres of paddy fields. The public is raising questions over the failure of officials to draw attention towards these problems.
වතුර ටිකක් ලබා දෙන්න කියලා තමයි අපිට ඉල්ලන්න තියෙන්නේ. මේ කන්නවත් බේර ගන්න හැම කන්නෙම ණය වෙලා දැන් ණය වෙන්න විදියකුත් නැහැ. අපේ දරුවන්ට කන්න දෙන්න යාලා ඉස්කෝලේ අරින්න තියෙන්නේ මේ ගොවිතැන විතරයි. හැම කන්නෙම අපේ ගොයම් පූජිනකොට මැරෙනවා. දැන් හොඳටම අසරණ වෙලා ඉන්නේ. අපිව බලන්න එන්නේ ඡන්දේ කාලෙට විතරයි. කැඳවත් බොන්න අපට නැහැ.
Meanwhile, fires were reported in the catchment areas of the central region over the last few days. The Disaster Management Centre says that nearly 230,000 people have been affected due to the drought. Assistant Director of the Disaster Management Centre, Janaka Handunpathiraja, said that around 215,000 people have been affected in the Kaluthuru district alone. Meanwhile, the National Water Supply and Drainage Board says that a situation has arisen where water cannot be supplied continuously to certain areas due to the prevailing dry weather. Issuing a statement, the National Water Supply and Drainage Board said that water bodies through which drinking water is obtained are drying up due to the drought. The public too has been requested to use water sparingly due to the prevailing dry weather. Meanwhile, water levels in water bodies located near hydropower stations too have been dropping. Water levels in the Kasuri reservoir have dropped to 49.9%, while water levels in the Mausakale reservoir have dwindled to 58.1%. In addition, water levels in the Kotmale and Victoria reservoirs have reduced up to 48.9% and 77.1% respectively. The Ceylon Electricity Board says that the current energy mix of the country comprises 20% of hydropower and 80% of other power sources. The Ceylon Electricity Board too has requested the public to use electricity sparingly. Meanwhile, the Department of Meteorology has predicted that adequate rainfall could be received during the intermonsoonal season. While the drought is posing problems to the farmers, a pest destroying their crops has aggravated their problems. Agricultural activities take place on land spanning around 10,400 acres, which receive water from the Hurulavavu in the Galimpindunuvavu area. The farmers who were affected in the past due to the shortage of fertilizer and the threat posed by wild elephants began their cultivation this year with a million hopes. However, they are now facing a problem caused by a pest which is damaging their crops. Farmers say that around 2,000 acres of paddy fields in several areas including Gatalava and Dutuvavu have been affected by this pest.
එක්කෙනෙකුට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් එක තෙල් මුරයකට රුපියල් 8,000ක් විතර අක්කරකට වියදම් වෙනවා. දැන් සෑහෙන අමාරු තත්යකට ඇටලා තියෙන්නේ. දවසේ කුලිය ගත්ත රුපියල්.
The daily wage we receive is 1,500 rupees. However, we do not receive a proper income when compared to our expenses. We cannot celebrate the Sinhala Tamil New Year as we have mortgaged our jewellery.
රම්බරු තුකස් කරලා අවුරුදු කන්ට වෙන්නෙත් නැහැ.
පොහොර සහනාධාරය යටතේ
Under the fertilizer concession program, diseases like brown spots are not covered. Before this becomes a serious issue, politicians in local authorities should pay attention to this problem and set up a mechanism to compensate farmers.
හුරුළුවැවේ ගොවියෝ වෙනුවෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටින්නේ.
While the pest has spread across several paddy fields in Mahiyangana, strategies adopted by farmers to overcome this issue has not borne the desired results. The advisors came and told us to cut our crops.
What is the purpose of doing this? The government is instructing us to avoid using poisonous chemicals. Now we have sprayed pesticides about 5 times. If we use them excessively, children will be affected. We are helpless. We tell the farmers to bring down agricultural advisors and to obtain advice. They come and prescribe medication. However, it is unfortunate to note that none of these medications have worked.
While the agricultural sector of our country is affected in this manner, Cabinet Corps spokesperson Minister Bandula Gunawardena expressed views regarding a CEB decision to obtain 15 billion rupees as an emergency loan from 2 state banks. Now, if you just analyze the banking law, the act that established the 2 state banks, it is clear that the banks were established for the development of the agricultural sector of our country, for the development of SMEs, and basically, to summarize, it was established for the general public's financial needs and not to fund money so that the corrupt activities carried out by CB officials, be it the mafia of trade unions that is operating there, and their activities. It is clear that through these decisions, once again, public funds, money that belong to you and I, the public of our country, is being severely wasted. Now, News First will continue to report to you on these matters as well. But before that, here's what Bandula Gunawardena, Minister and Cabinet Corps spokesperson, had to say.
ලංකා විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලයට රාජ්‍ය බැංකු දෙකකින් රුපියල් කෝටි 1500ක ණය මුදලක් හදිස්සිය ලබා දීමට තීරණය කළා තියෙනවා. තවත් ණය ගෙවන්න තීදියෙත් මේක ණය මුදලක් ලබා දීම තුලින් ණය පියවා ගැනීමට හැකියාවක් තියෙනවද බංකොලොත් වෙච්ච ආයතනයකට?
If we don't give life to a bankrupt company, there will be no power for the general public. So the government must support the CEB and help rebuild itself. The new executive board of the CEB that will be appointed after the election will be responsible to manage and repay the debt and to restructure the organization.
Now, the Southern Expressway extending to Baravakumbuka, Mattala and Hambantota will be open to the public tomorrow.
Road Development Authority said that 21.8 km stretch from Baravakumbuka to Mattala across Andaravava and the 16.6 km stretch from Andaravava to Hambantota will be opened tomorrow. The section of the road was opened prior to the presidential election, even before the construction work was completed. However, the minister in charge, Johnson Fernando, advised the relevant authorities to complete the construction activities in a proper manner.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa called on the Mahanayaka Theros today to discuss matters with regard to the opening of the Southern Expressway and the issues prevailing in the country. The Prime Minister, who arrived in Kandy this morning, paid his respects to the sacred tooth relic. Later, the Prime Minister called on the Mahanayaka of the Malwatha chapter, Most Venerable Thibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thero. The Prime Minister then called on the Anunayaka of the Malwatha chapter, Most Venerable Dimbul Kumbure Vimaladhamma Thero, and had a brief conversation. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa also called on the Mahanayaka of the Askiri chapter, Most Venerable Varakagoda Sri Gnanaratana Thero. Later, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa responded to questions raised by journalists.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයෙන් එවන එක්කෙනා තමයි අපි පිළිගන්නේ. ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයෙන් වෙන කෙනෙක් කිව්වනම් මේ මහි ඉන්න මහාමහි හිටපු මහාමතුමා වගේ කෙනෙක් කිව්වනම් ඒත් අපි පිළිගන්නවා. එයා වුණා. ඉතින් කිව්වේ නෑනේ. එව්වේ සිරිසේනවා. ඉතින් එතකොට අපිට එයාව පිළිගන්න ඕන.
නැවතලා තිබුණ සංවර්ධනය නැවත ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා.
සිද්ධියක් නවතින්නේ නෑ. අපි කොහොම හරි කරලා දෙනවා. අපි වැඩකාරයෝ. මතක තියාගන්න. ජනාධිපතිවරයා වැඩකාරයෙක්. ඉතින් අනුමැතිය ගැන කියන්න ඕනේ නෑ. අවුරුදු 5ක් විනාශ කරා. ඉතින් අවුරුදු 5 අල්ලන්න ඕනේ.
Now, is the new alliance of the United National Party prepared to contest the general election? These were some of the views expressed in the political arena in this regard.
We resolved the issue concerning the symbol of the elephant. We are now taking the relevant legal measures to contest under the symbol of the swan. I have confidence that the Samagi Jana Balavege will contest the general election under the symbol of the swan. The registration process is complete. We are in the process of changing the symbol. Those who do not know about this matter make various statements. Attempts are being made to create divisions over the symbol to allow Rajapaksas to win the majority in parliament. They are the ones who have a deal with the government. There is no crisis. We have decided to contest under the symbol of the swan under the leadership of Sajith Premadasa. The constituent parties in our alliance do not comprise of a few members like the party represented by the symbol of the three-wheeler. We hope to form a broad alliance which comprises all opposition parties in order to contest the upcoming general election. It is wrong to talk about the estate community simply because they want the symbol of the elephant. Do they think that those people are brainless and uneducated? More than the urban people, they listen to us, identified what is right and wrong and voted suitable people into power. It does not matter whether the symbol is the elephant, swan, cat or the lion. The symbol is not a problem. That is all I have to say. We do not strike deals. I'm not a deal maker. I'm a leader. Everything has been decided. You will receive good news next Wednesday on how we will contest the general election. Mark my words, do not panic.
Coming soon.
Dr. Charita Herath recently claimed that he will be contesting the upcoming general election from the Kurunegala district. At a media briefing held in Kurunegala today, journalists questioned if there is an opportunity to contest the election through Viatmaga.
The joint opposition is the group that came out of our government at the time and appeared on behalf of Mahinda Rajapaksa instead of joining the government. We agreed that they have special privileges. There are people who came after that also. The SLFP is also there. We have made an alliance now. I'm not sure he said exactly that. He did not specifically mention intellectuals. I remember him saying that not only professionals should enter parliament. I agree on what he attempted to say. Being a professional is not an education qualification. A professional has knowledge about the country and the society, but it's something you can gain even with experience.
Foreign Secretary Ravinath Arya Singha has briefed Human Rights Council Ambassador Elizabeth Tichy-Fisselberger about the decision to withdraw from co-sponsoring UNHRC resolutions.
Issuing a release, Sri Lanka's permanent mission in Geneva said Minister of Foreign Relations Dinesh Gunawardena, leading the delegation, will formally inform the council members on the government's decision when he addresses the high-level segment on the council on Wednesday. Minister Gunawardena is also scheduled to respond to the oral update on Sri Lanka by the High Commissioner Michelle Bachelet on the 27th of February. The release added the High Commissioner and the Ambassador representing the UK, Germany and Canada of the core group were informed of the decision taken by Sri Lanka.
Foreign Ministry assures welfare of Sri Lankans following COVID-19 concerns in South Korea. Issuing a release, the Ministry of Foreign Relations said the ministry is in coordination with the Sri Lanka Embassy in Seoul, has been closely monitoring and coordinating efforts to ensure the safety of Sri Lankans residing in South Korea. According to the Sri Lanka Embassy in Seoul, presently no Sri Lankans have fallen victim to the virus. Over 20,000 Sri Lankans comprising migrant workers as well as students reside in that country. The embassy is focusing particular attention on Sri Lankans in Daegu, where an estimated 915 reside. South Korea says the number of new coronavirus cases in the country has more than doubled in one day.
South Korea has reported 229 fresh new cases of coronavirus, and foreign media report that a third patient died. Nearly half of the new cases in South Korea were linked to members of the Xinjiang religious sect, as infections in the country more than doubled to 433. Iran reported a fifth death and 10 more cases, bringing the total to 28. The head of the World Health Organization said yesterday a cluster of cases in Iran and the first positive test in Lebanon are of particular concern because they don't have a direct tie to China. As of today, coronavirus cases rose to 76,288 in China, with 2,343 fatalities. Meanwhile, all passengers of the Westerdam cruise ship, which was turned away from 5 ports before docking in Cambodia, have tested negative for the coronavirus. Italy reported 14 new coronavirus cases as of yesterday, bringing the total cases in the country to 17.
An outflow of 1.2 billion rupees worth foreign investments in treasury bills and treasury bonds was witnessed during the week ending 19th of February. Let's now take a look at your weekly stock exchange update.
The ASPI ended 0.02% higher for the shortened trading week amid subdued market turnover. Activity centered around the banking and capital goods sector accounted for a majority of the week's turnover.
So over the last week, we've seen mixed reactions, with Monday and Thursday the market being a bit negative, and we've seen a positive reaction on Tuesday and Wednesday. Overall turnover levels have been rather moderate, around the 400 to 500 million rupee mark. However, we saw high level of turnover on Thursday. So we've recorded net foreign outflow throughout the week, except on Tuesday, where we saw a bit of a net inflow. So overall, at the end of last week, year-to-date net foreign outflow has been in the range of 3.9 billion rupees.
Let's now take a look at currency movement.
A ceremony was held at the Nellum Pokana Theatre today to mark the 20th anniversary of Minister Vima Veeravangsha's political career. The ceremony was named Visi Vasaka Veeravangsha. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa graced the occasion as the chief guest, while national organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Basil Rajapaksa, also attended the event.
Minister Vimal Veeravangsha, who was born on the 7th of March in 1970, was educated at Thissa Central College in Kalutara. He entered Parliament in 2000 after contesting under the Janatha Vimukti Peramuna in the Colombo district. Upon leaving the JVP, a group of MPs led by Vimal Veeravangsha formed the National Freedom Front. In 2008, Veeravangsha contested the parliamentary election under the UPFA ticket. He currently serves as the Minister of Small and Medium Business and Enterprise Development and Minister of Industries and Supply Chain Management.
Global terror financing watchdog FATF decided to retain Pakistan in its grey list and warned the country of stern action if it fails to prosecute and penalize those involved in terror funding.
The decision was taken at the Financial Action Task Force, which concluded in Paris yesterday after 6 days of deliberations. The Financial Action Task Force is an intergovernmental organization founded in 1989 on the initiative of the G7 to develop policies to combat money laundering. In 2001, its mandate expanded to include terrorism financing. FATF has strongly asked Pakistan to swiftly complete its full action plan by June 2020 and further warned that if significant and sustainable process, especially in prosecuting and penalizing terrorist financing of groups and the FATF, can take action which could include blacklisting. Pakistan's presence in the grey list makes it difficult for the country to get financial aid from the IMF, the World Bank and the European Union.
Differently abled people are an integral part of the society. For the benefit of the many thousands of differently abled people in the country, we had Taruka Gabriel, the first diploma holder, the English medium news interpreter, sign language interpreter, joining us this evening. While appreciating her efforts, that's a wrap of Primetime News. But before we go, we leave you with some footage circulating on social media of a crocodile found at a construction site in Colombo. I'm Zinat Musafir. Thank you for watching News First. Good night.
Jogar